A married couple plans a holiday to make their boring marriage joyful. But things do not go their way. So guys, welcome back to the movie summary. Beginning of the movie, we see Jesse and Gerald. As a married couple, they are going on a romantic vacation to Alabama. Gerald stopped his car because a dog eating an animal on the road. He started beating the horn. Dog gets out of the way of the listening horn. And they both move on. They reach a lake house where Jesse looks overjoyed. On the other hand, we see Gerald, who has been taking Viagra in order to perform well on the bed. After that, Jessie comes out of the house and sees the same dog. She calling the dog for food that she found on the way. Then Gerald comes over and they go inside the house together. Jessie notices that the door of the house was left open. Still, she ignores and goes inside. She wears a dress specially bought for the occasion. Gerald tells her that let's play a fantasy game where we have to role play. I will pretend to be a rapist here and try to force you. And you can go as hard as you want. Jessie found the idea quite absurd, but said yes anyway. He then comes over to Jessie and handcuffs her, then the two begin. But after a while Jessie finds it all strange and uncomfortable. And also that Gerald is not here to start a new relationship, but to fulfill his strange fantasy. An argument ensues between the two. Then Gerald suffers a heart attack from an overdose of Viagra, which causes him to death. She screamed at her husband. Then she tries to lift his body off her, which causes Gerald's body to fall to the floor. Now Jessie is alone and cries for help. But there is no one around here who can help her, because this house was in a lonely place in the middle of the forest. Now many hours have passed. Late in the evening, the same dog entered the house. Jessie tries hard to shoo it away, but it bites off a piece of Gerald's hand and eats it. Suddenly Gerald stood up and as he started to talk, she noticed that Gerald's body was lying on the ground, then she realized that she was delusional. He taunts her by talking about the lack of marriage and his failure in marriage. He said that if you spend more time here, you will die of hunger and thirst. She didn't have the courage to talk to him about Gerald's mistakes. So she imagines herself talking. Then these two hallucinations remind her that Gerald left a glass of water above her, she can reach, and now she holds the glass of water with great difficulty, but she unable to drink. To reach the water, she rolls the tag from her dress into a straw and drinks the water. Then Jessie fell asleep and by the time she opened her eyes, it was already dark. Then Jessie saw a strange figure in front of her, who showed her a bag. The bag has bones and rings. Seeing all this, Jessie felt that she was having an illusion again. Just then, Gerald's shadow tells him that it is death. And he starts calling Jessie a mouse. This reminded Jessie of his stepfather Tom. Actually he used to call him Mouse as a child. When she was 12 years old, she went with her family to the shore of a lake to watch solar eclipse. Just then her stepfather asked her to sit on his lap, and then he started misbehaving with her. But Jessie didn't stop him. Now the story comes to the present. Now both Gerald and strange figure start taunting her that you married an old man just like your stepfather. Gerald shows the signs of which one knows that this strange figure is not her illusion but the truth. There was actually the strange figure. Jessie married to an old man who had cheated her up several times under the pretense of a business trip. Jessie knew everything about her husband. But she thought everything was normal in their marriage. As she remembered how her mother knew everything about her stepfather's activities and did nothing about it. Because of Jessie's hands being tied for a long time, the blood comes out in her hands. If she did not do something quickly, her life could also be lost. That's why Jessie plucked up the courage to break the glass of water. And she cuts her wrist by jamming a piece of glass into the top shelf to stop the bleeding. Then she struggles to get her hand out of the handcuffs. And she takes a key. After that she opens her other hand and ties a sanitary pad bandage on her hand, but by now a lot of blood had flowed out, so she fainted. When she regained consciousness, the strange figure was still there. Now here Jessie took out her wedding ring and gave it to strange figure. She started running towards her car and started the car and left from there. But now on the way she started having illusions of that strange figure. Then her car crashes into a tree. The people living there come to help and Jessie is saved. 6 months later, she wrote a letter pretending to be a 12-year-old girl. She feigned amnesia to avoid painful questions. She even started a foundation with Gerald's money to help people with dementia. She has nightmares every night about the strange figure. Then Jessie learns from newspaper about a serial killer who used to steal skeletons and jewelry and mistreat the bodies of dead humans by eating their faces. He was arrested by the police and produced in court today. Now Jessie comes in a court. Jessie says to this man that you are not true but an illusion. He tells her that he was there in that day. And you gave me your wedding ring. She sees her stepfather and her husband in that serial killer. And says, "You are much small than I remember." By saying this, Jessie confidently leave from there. This is how this movie ends. I'm working hard to make these videos, it's my humble request to subscribe my channel.